Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you have been truly doing amazing this past week and taking care of yourselves and enjoying life as much as possible and building relationships, meaningful relationships with other people and with yourself. You know, it's like there are so many incredible people in this world and so many incredible situations and circumstances that we can find ourselves in if we allow ourselves that opportunity, if we allow ourselves to open up to those new opportunities, to those new people, to those new chances. And something that I've been really thinking about is the realization, the fact that there are a lot of variations in this world, a lot of people who believe in different things, who feel different ways, and they may be different ways that are in conflict with the ways that you think, the ways that you feel, the things that you believe. And a lot of these differences, they can separate us, they can keep us from connecting with one another on that deeper level that we're meant to connect on, that we can feel a connection being on. There's this natural tendency for humans to want to connect and love and appreciate one another. If you see a person that gets injured on the sidewalk, you don't know their history. You're not asking them for a background check. You're going to run over there and you're going to help them. You're going to do something. You're going to act in a way that is compassionate towards that person. And maybe you don't have the same response that other people may have, where they may run over to the person and start administering whatever type of first aid that they know, or psychological help or whatever it may be. But you may be able to help in your own way. Maybe you send your good thoughts or your good ideas, or maybe you wait there until you make sure that that person's okay. But whatever the case may be, there's this innate connection that we have with one another that we wish to express, but we don't always express that. And a big reason for that is because of these differences that we see and we feel between ourselves and another. And it keeps us from seeing and feeling and acting on that genuine connection that we have. And it's important to really just think about the beliefs that we have and how they may be in conflict with something that like someone else believes. And do we want to have to argue our own beliefs? Do we want to have to argue the way that we show up in the world? Do we want to have to argue how we just want to be? And this is really what we do when we judge other people, when we judge other situations for being something that's different than what we feel it should be, or someone acting in a way that we feel they shouldn't be acting. Allow yourself to give the same forgiveness that you would want extended upon yourself. It took me a few years, but after I became vegan, immediately after becoming vegan, I wanted everyone else to become vegan. I wanted everyone else to adopt this diet because, I felt the benefits of, like within my body, the health benefits that I felt. And after a few years, I started learning about the, environmental and all these different factors that aided in supporting the fact that, a vegan diet was something that felt right for me. But it was that last part that I needed to really hone in on, and the fact that it felt right for me. It wasn't my job to try to impress these beliefs upon someone else or make someone else feel bad for what they were doing or what they were putting into their body. Because when I ate meat, when I ate dairy, those weren't things that I wanted shoved down my face. And it did actually happen to me. And of course I brushed it off, but I didn't want to feel bad for the way that I was being in the world. And there may be ways that we collectively see being in the world as not being okay, or not being something that we agree with being a way that we want to act in the world. But just because we feel that way doesn't mean that we have to force that opinion or that belief on anyone else. This is something that's really big with religion. Why so many people stray away from different religious factors is because so many religious beliefs are being forced upon another, when the biggest thing with most major religions is love, is the aspect of love and connection and allowance. These are the aspects of peace. These are aspects of who we are that feel good. And when we allow ourselves to feel that, when we allow ourselves to feel that relief of knowing that we can be exactly as we are, we have the gift in that moment to extend that upon someone else, to extend that to someone else, to let go of our judgments of someone else and how someone else is being in the world. And we can see them for who they are, see them for the person, the being that is right in front of us. And each and every person is a miracle. You are a miracle in this world. And to be treated any way else is a disservice. But it's not up to anyone else to treat you that way. You have to treat yourself that way. And even if someone else doesn't treat you that way, extend that still to them. Extend that compassion, that love, that forgiveness. And it doesn't mean you have to stand in the face of someone arguing with you or yelling at you or disrespecting you in some kind of way. You can walk away. You can not engage with that person, but it doesn't mean that you have to judge that person. You can say, I wish the best for you in your life. I wish that the anger and the sadness and the pain that you carry with you, that is obviously being exhibited in this moment, I hope that ceases. I hope that you find joy and happiness and peace and love for yourself in this life. And obviously you don't have to say that. You can say that within your own self, but allow yourself to walk away from that situation, not diminished in the capacity of knowing who you are, knowing the value that you have, and also not leaving that situation diminishing the value and integrity of that other being. You don't have to agree with their actions. You don't have to agree with the way that they show up in the world, but it also doesn't mean that you have to judge them for those things, just as you do not want to be judged. There are many of us that are on this spiritual journey, and we feel as though there are things and ways that people are acting, things that people are doing that they don't make sense. They seem silly and senseless. And these are things that maybe we were engaged in at some point. Maybe these were things that we believed. Maybe we didn't hear the words of self-love and compassion and loving one another and connection and believing in oneself and law of attraction and all these different things. Maybe these weren't things that we believed in at one point. Maybe these weren't things we acted on at one point. Maybe we were just living in the world as a human being that was raised in the world with all the aspects, with all the judgments and all the criticisms that the world had us believe. We've all been raised in that world. And the way that we express ourselves as a result of that is different. We're all on the same journey. So allow others the path that they're on, because either way, we're going to end up at the same place. But it's not for us to judge them on where they are right now, just as you don't want to be judged for where you are right now. And obviously this comes back to treat others as you want to be treated. But this is something that goes so much deeper, because the way that we treat others is really the way that we're treating ourselves. When we judge others, when we cast hatred upon others, when we do hateful things to other people, these are things that we're really impressing upon ourselves as well. And it may not be in the same way. Like, you could be judging someone for whatever, some kind of way that they present in the world, and you don't necessarily present in that same way, but there are judgments that you cast on yourself in a similar light. Maybe it is about your appearance. Maybe you judge yourself critically about your appearance. You judge others about their appearance, and you're judging yourself about your appearance. You judge others about the things that they believe in. You're judging yourself about the things that you believe in, the things that you should and shouldn't believe in, the things that you should and shouldn't feel. The way that we treat others is a direct reflection of how we are treating ourselves, and maybe in a different capacity. So it's not for us to judge ourselves or hate ourselves even more for the judgments and hatreds or frustrations that we hold for other people or other situations, but notice them. Allow yourself to first ask yourself, do I want to feel this way? Because it doesn't feel good to hate someone. It doesn't feel good to be frustrated about a situation. You're the one that's feeling that anger. Again, if I'm stuck in traffic and I'm angry at the person in front of me driving slow, they may not know I'm angry, but I'm the one that's holding that anger. So it's up to me to ask myself, do I want to let this go? Do I want to hold on to this? Do I want to put myself through this? Do I want to put my body through this? Do I want to put my emotional self through this? This isn't the way that I want to live my life. This isn't the way that I want to live. And really, that's the question that we have to ask ourselves in each and every moment, because again, right now is where we're living our life. So we have to ask ourselves, is this how I want to feel right now? Is this how I want to live my life? Because right now, this is how I'm living my life. So allow yourself to let go of that frustration, that anger, that judgment in the best way that you know how to, just for the sake of allowing yourself to feel better. But also in noticing that judgment, that hatred, that criticism, ask yourself, have I ever been in that same situation? Have I ever been on the other end of this judgment or this criticism and realized it didn't feel so good? Have I looked back in hindsight and judged myself, a previous version of myself, for a decision that was made, for a call that was made, a choice that was made? And am I judging this other person right now for the same reasons? Am I holding on to this judgment for this thing that I did in the past? Am I holding on to it so much that it impacts my life, my well-being, my mental health? And now I'm casting the same judgment upon someone else? We have to ask ourselves these questions, because when we look through the clarity of that lens, of that comparison of saying, is this something that I have experienced? Is this something that I want to experience? Do I want to be treated that way? Do I want to feel that way? And do I want others to feel that way as a result of me? Once we ask ourselves that question, we can come to the very definite conclusion that I want to treat this person with kindness. I want to treat this person with respect, with fairness, with the ability for them to live their life the way that they want to. And if it's not in agreement with the things that I feel, the things that I believe, and it's something I can't look past, then I can walk away. I can go in another direction. And there will be more people who come into my experience who have a variety of interests that help to enhance my life in different ways that may be different from me, but in ways that I appreciate and I value, in ways that aren't hurtful to me. And we can walk in that direction. But holding on to that judgment, that hatred, that criticism, that pain towards other people, it is something that we're holding on within ourselves. And it is a way that we are criticizing and judging ourselves as well. So allow yourself to let go of those judgments, and really it comes down to the ability to find yourself in greater and greater situations, find yourself meeting more and more incredible people, and living a life that's just more abundant, living a life that's just more fruitful. And again, these are things that I talk to myself about all the time. These are things that I have to remind myself of when I am angry at that driver in front of me for driving slow. There are times where I've had to drive slow because I didn't know where I was going. And I, in my head and in my car, I'm like apologizing to the person behind me because I know they're probably angry. I can allow myself to let go of it a little bit more. I can allow myself to remind myself, do I want to feel this way? Do I want to hold on to this? And do I want to pass this anger along to this other person? Because everything is vibration, and the energy that we put out, the things that we feel, it is vibration that goes out, and it can be very, very much felt. And there are times where I've put out a vibration that I know was felt by another, and in that it made me feel bad. But I don't hold on to that feeling of badness or like feeling bad about that situation for very long. I just change the vibration. And I allow myself to forgive myself for feeling that way. Because again, that judgment isn't something that I want to hold on to. And it's not something that I want to hold on to for anyone else. So we give ourselves a gift 2 times when we allow ourselves to judge less, allow ourselves to criticize others less, say less angry words to each other, do less hateful and harmful things to each other. We get the gift of not hurting another being, not putting that anger and that hostility and that energy on someone else, and also forgiving ourselves and healing ourselves in that same process, because that is what's happening. We heal the wounds that we've been holding on to, the wounds of judgment and criticism and hatred and pain. Those wounds are healed, and it is a miracle, because you don't even realize you're doing it. You think you're just being kind to other people. You think you're just realizing that, hey, maybe that person's having a tough day and I should take it easy on them. We start extending this kindness, and it transforms us inside, and it's really something amazing. It truly is. So I invite you to allow that into your life, and to allow that forgiveness to radiate through every part of you and everything around you. So yeah, that's all I have for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group, @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page, Everything Under the Sun Podcast. And yeah, that's all I got. Love you all so much, and I'll talk to you soon.